Hello, CEO teachers. What a special treat I have in store for not only you, but for me as well. Today, we are talking to two very, very special people in my life. They are the first online teacher business coaches, yes, but they are also members of Team CEO Teacher, and it has been an honor and a privilege to get to know them over the last few years. This is not the first time you've heard them on the show, and we know based on our data that you love hearing Tina and Allie chat. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here again today.
Thanks for having us. This is exciting.
Yes. Okay, Tina and Allie, I want you guys to kind of introduce yourself. I know you've been on the show before, but for anyone that may have missed it, tell everyone a little bit of your backstory and where you have come from, where you are now, and what life looks like for you.
So I'm Tina Gable, and I have been with the CEO Teacher since the beginning, whenever that was, 2018, I think, and then part of Team CEO Teacher since 2020. But I started as a classroom teacher, 26 years in the classroom with early education before I decided to retire from traditional teaching, what a traditional classroom teacher looks like. And now currently am living tiny living life with my dogs and my husband, where we are building our forever home, and I still get to teach.
I love it. And I also love following your journey of your forever home. Tina, she gets to travel out there, and we are watching her build her home literally with her bare hands, and it has been so much fun to watch. So we can't wait for you to be in your forever home too.
Me too. It's been a journey. I recommend it and don't recommend it. It depends on the hour. So it really comes down to, what is it that you want? It's been a really cool experience for us to be able to actually build it with our four hands actually. But at the same time, that there's a lot of things that come along with that when you're living off grid. So it's been a journey.
Patience being one of those that I don't think I have enough of. So okay, Allie, tell everyone a little bit about your story.
Awesome. Well, I am Allie Elliott. I am a former elementary teacher. I actually taught abroad for over 5 years in Tanzania, Africa. Loved every second of it. And then joined the CEO teacher community in 2018 as well from the beginning, and became part of Team CEO Teacher at the very beginning of 2020, before we knew that our lives would change forever in so many different ways. And I have just been loving being a part of this team. I am our integrator and have been able to move from where my home base was in Nebraska to Denver, Colorado, almost 2 years ago now, which is crazy, and just love living the life out here in the mountains and getting to support teachers and education in a non-traditional way while still using my strengths as a teacher.
So both Tina and Allie have, shown what life looks like from being a classroom teacher to still being a teacher. Allie, I can't believe you've been in Denver for almost 2 years. Like, I felt like you moved there yesterday.
Same. I am blown away. It's crazy.
I feel like I just saw you yesterday too, but that was over a year ago now that we saw each other. So it's crazy how quickly life goes by, especially when you're having fun. And that's kind of what today's show is all about, is what does fun look like and joy as a teacher, but not in the typical traditional teaching way. Our ladies mentioned that they are teachers in non-traditional ways. And while they are full-time employees of CEO Teacher, they also have a side gig of their own, and that is coaching. So can one of you, Allie, let's start with you. Let's talk a little bit about your journey to becoming an online coach and what that's looked like, and kind of what that's meant for you to kind of have your own thing.
Yeah, so I'll start. I started coaching about 6 months after joining the Team CEO Teacher team, and have just loved every second of it. It was a really fun way to connect with teachers around the world, just one-on-one, and build relationships with them and support them in their businesses. It was really fun to be able to just connect in a way that is totally different and use what I've learned as a business owner and as being part of the team to help other teachers make the life that they want to live and grow their businesses as well. And it's just been such a fun journey. Starting there, just kind of starting from scratch, learning everything from the ground up, which was, it's all the ups and downs and trials and errors and all of the good stuff there. But I love it because I can do it wherever I'm at and on my own time schedule and meet teachers where they're at. So sometimes I'll do, morning sessions when they're, in their classroom before school or on the weekends. I don't do them on the weekends as much now, but just being able to have that flexibility has been really great, and building relationships with teachers and supporting them on their journeys while also supporting my journey. And it's just been a beautiful, beautiful relationships that we've gotten to build.
So when you say you're a coach, like what does that mean? So like I know you're talking about coaching other teachers and all of this, but for someone listening that has no idea what you're talking about, are you a coach like on the sidelines, like a baseball coach? Like what does it mean when you say you're a teacher business coach?
Yeah, great question. It's basically you're taking the normal coach picture persona of a sports coach or whatever, and you're turning it into that for a teacher who is growing her or his own business. And so obviously it looks differently, and it's all for me done virtually. I haven't done any in-person coaching, which that's definitely a possibility as well. But you meet one-on-one, do it over Zoom or virtually, wherever that is. They schedule a call and we meet and we talk about things for their business. Sometimes they're like, hey, I need help with this topic. Maybe it's search engine optimization or creating their TPT store, whatever, wherever they are on their path to becoming a CEO teacher. And they basically ask questions. I'm able to then answer them, support them. Sometimes it's a step-by-step, walking them through how to do something that they may not understand. Sometimes it's literally just encouragement and having someone else to be there as an accountability and as someone who understands it, right? Like as a person who is starting their own business, not a lot of people around you in your life as a teacher. Hopefully that's changing, but even in your, life with your family and your friends, they don't really understand our world. And you feel, a lot of teachers feel like they're this island of no one understands what I'm going through, what I'm doing. So just having someone else to be able to like, yes, I know these words. I know how to do this. I know what you're going through, and helping them on their journey is a big part of that. And then learning what their business is and what they're doing, so that way I can help them grow and push them forward to take action in ways that they can. Sometimes it's, saying the same thing to multiple different people who are in the same aspects of their business as well, right? Like one of the things that was so huge for me when I was in, especially the beginnings of my coaching side hustle or coaching business, is a lot of them were stuck at something and they're like, I can't figure this out. I'm really stuck in this one certain area. It's different for everybody, but not really being able to take a step forward because they're stuck. And so one of the things that I was able to say was, okay, yes, you're stuck in this area. Maybe you don't know what your branding for your business is, or you don't know what products you're going to create, but how can we take action in another area to then be able to move you forward in a different action? Because action brings more action, or action brings clarity is what we say, and then we can take more action in different ways. So just being able to come alongside someone and support them and be there as their cheerleader, as their accountability, and give them the strategy that they need to move forward. It's been super great to do.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the action brings clarity. And then even as simple as action brings action. I think it's so funny to kind of think back to where we all were at the very beginning. And so it seems so simple, right? Action brings action. And you're like, oh, well, duh, like that makes sense. But until you see it, until you have a coach or until you have someone that has your best interest at heart and pushes you to take that action, because that's what coaches do essentially, is that, yes, you can buy the program. Yes, you can start on it on your own, but unless you have that accountability, that hand-holding, that one-on-one support, oftentimes it kind of goes to the wayside. I know for me, when I start a new diet or exercise program, I need somebody telling me you're doing great, or this isn't going exactly as it needs to, so you may need additional support. And so Allie and I were the first coaches, and then we decided we needed a lot more help. And so that's when we brought Tina in to also become a coach, and we trained her and did all these things. So Tina, let's talk about your journey, when you became a coach, and did we just feed you to the wolves and say, hope it works out?
Well, first of all, absolutely not. So that whole idea of coaching others was something that both you and Allie set up for me. So I had a system and a process. I had a kind of coaching in a box, if you will. Like, you guys had that set up for me. So I had a place to return to. I had mentors and I had the support from the two of you. And what's interesting is Allie talks about her coaching students like gaining clarity by taking action. And I think that really happened for me as a coach. I started out with the CEO teacher coaching program probably 8 months or so after I started working full time for the company, and kind of did a little bit of everything as far as coaching went, helping people get started with starting their business and helping people getting unstuck and kind of doing a little bit of everything. But for me, taking action on my own brought the clarity of where my strengths were. And so now 95% of the coaching that I do is in the messaging. Website design, sales page audits, writing sales page content, that sort of a thing. So it's a lot about the messaging, because I too needed clarity in what it was that I was providing for others. And so a lot of it is that written word. How are you coming across as a business owner, helping people with that, getting them unstuck, and taking the writing about themselves to writing about their customer. That's kind of a difficult shift a lot of times. And so being able to support and mentor my own students, and I say students, they're adults, but mentoring my own students through finding their voice in the online space is really kind of where my action brought clarity for me. And then being able to, like Allie said, create those long-term relationships. Now I can see these coaching students that I have. I can see where they started and where they're headed. They're learning about their families, learning about, what they want out of life. If they're staying in the classroom, if they're choosing non-traditional path, I'm their cheerleader. I'm really kind of helping them take action on what it is that they want in life.
And the best part of that, about everything you just said, was that you have found your thing as it's taken a little bit of trial and error. And that's kind of the journey that we're going on with all of you that are listening here, is that you may be listening and saying, I don't know what to coach people on. And like we always say, you don't know what you don't know. And so whenever you get in there and you really start working through it, you will find your strengths and your weaknesses. And so for me, I'm much more of a motivator. Like, I don't even like the tactical how to 1, 2, 3s. Like, Allie has the patience of a saint. She can sit there and walk you through step by step. Tina excels so much in the messaging. As she said, she is our copywriter here. Allie is our integrator. So she can see all of it and figure out what steps to take next. Whereas me, like, when you need the motivation and you need the cheerleader and the supporter, like, I'm going to be able to get you through and take all your limiting beliefs and squash them. So it's taken us years to figure that out, though, and to really understand, oh, this is what we're great at, which is honestly why we all work so well together too, because we kind of are this huge trifecta when it comes to getting things done in our business. But Allie, when thinking about what you excel in, like, when was it that you found, okay, this is my thing, and I know when I talk with people, I'm great at this specifically?
Great question. I think that it definitely takes time, and I think it's when you're able to talk or teach someone something or coach them, or whether that's, coaching or doing it in your own business even, and it is something that you're passionate about, or it's something that's fun for you. Like, for me, some people get really tied up by search engine optimization or by blogging or those things. But once I could see, oh my gosh, there's like an actual system to this, and it's almost like a game of like, oh, let's do this to make it fun, and let's do this to make it the best that it can be, then it really started a fire in me. And then I was like, oh, this is what I love to teach to other people. It's the same thing as a classroom teacher, right? Sometimes it takes going through, oh, I taught first grade, I taught kindergarten, and then I taught fourth grade, was like, oh my gosh, this is the magic, like, this is what I've been missing. And so a lot of times as coaches, as you're stepping into that role, it doesn't necessarily have to be that you have all this experience to then figure out what works, but it can even be something like, okay, what is it like in my own business or whatever your topics that you're kind of considering, which one do I feel like I'm excited about? Which one brings me joy? What am I good at? And that kind of gives you an idea of like, okay, this is what's going to help me figure out where I'm going to go from here. And sometimes it is just that experience of like, okay, I'll help you with whatever it is that you're looking for. And then after 5 or 10 different coaching calls, you're like, oh, well, I don't necessarily, I can teach that, but I'm really good at, or I really love teaching this concept. And then you can hone in on those skills.
Yeah, and you mentioned something important, 5, 10 coaching calls, because that's really our goal here. We're not really a one and done kind of thing. Yes, we can help you on one specific thing, but the idea of a coach is someone that you need for the long haul. We don't really believe in this is just going to be something you do for a little while. If you really love it and you want to stick with it, it is something that can last a lifetime. So Tina, if you're thinking customer journey here, you're thinking of, I want to be your coach forever and ever and ever. And I know that we're going to start this way, and maybe I'm a good fit, maybe Allie's a good fit, maybe Kate, we don't really know who the best fit is. What does it look like continuing that customer journey with someone as a coach?
I think it really comes down to that action piece, right? Like, are we taking action together? Because really there is a piece of, that yes, as a coach, you are encouraging and helping them take action, but you also kind of need to be taking some action and following through and following up to see like, where are they on the journey? And so for me, thinking about kind of those long-term students that I have, we may have started with something like, say, they needed help with a sales page audit kind of a thing. And then we really got into changing the messaging, fixing the messaging, and then 3 more courses came out of what they wrote. And so then they went ahead and took action on that. And now there are 3 courses in and they're saying, okay, but what can I add next? And so our relationship continues with like the next step in the journey. And the one that I'm thinking of, currently, the next step in the journey would then be to reaching out to schools. Like, there's all of these avenues that you can join. It's not a linear path in any of these. And I think Allie would say the same. Like, even though she and I have similar clients and similar students and people that maybe started in the same space, needing help with search engine optimization or website design or whatever it was, their paths at some point went down a very unique road. And that, I think, is the beauty of the customer journey, is being able to grow with them as a coach.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's really fun to also, like you're saying, Tina, like the customer journey that you get to follow them through, and then also the life journey of seeing and being there to celebrate with them when, something happens that's really exciting, or being like, okay, let's troubleshoot this and see why this didn't work and try something else next time. And, it's nothing is the same. I think that's one of the things I love about coaching as well, is though you have your things that you are really good at, that you love coaching, that you're going to do with every person, or, once you hone in on those skills, you're still, every single coaching call is different. Every single client is different. So it still brings that variety that we as teachers love in the classroom. We're working with different students to figure out how they work best. Same thing as a coach. I'm working with this student or coaching client, and they need this kind of encouragement or this kind of coaching, whereas this person who is in the same field but needs a completely different way of coaching. And so that's what brings me life, is figuring out, okay, this is where you're at, this is where you want to be, let's figure out your specific path to get there, because it's not one size fits all.
I totally agree with that. And thinking of that, it's not even always, I have kind of a written, I don't know, I'll call it a timeline, but like a written schedule basically of, how we might progress in the coaching calls. But I also have students that definitely need the video type. They need to see it in action. And so that's been really cool to be able to do screen recordings and showing them what it is that I'm talking about, because maybe the written part isn't connecting with them. So like you said, finding out what your student needs to be successful, whether it's a written documentation or some sort of screen recording to show them exactly what you're talking about, or just that cheerleader, you've reached out and, hey, how did it go? How did, that last little piece that we talked about, how did it end up? And being able to encourage them that way. So there's all these different like daily feel good feelings and feel good moments that come along with it, and offer that flexibility of like being a classroom teacher, that I'm not, stuck in a rut kind of a thing, because it's constantly changing, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think that was the most fun for me too. When I was coaching, I started just doing coaching first, and then decided to create a program. So, and that kind of goes in line with figuring out what you want to do and being really good at it so that you can shine in other ways later. But I want to shift gears for a little bit, and let's talk about the freedom and flexibility that this job gives you. Yes, you are a member of Team CEO Teacher, and we could talk about that as well, but you have an online job now. You guys are teachers, but you do not clock in. Tina, you were a teacher for 26 years. That just blows my mind. Like I forget that sometimes, it really, really does. It just blows my mind. But and Allie, teaching abroad, like there are some limitations when it comes to being a classroom teacher that you no longer have. Can we talk about what that looks like?
Definitely. Yeah, it is. It's so freeing. And it's one of those things that I never went into this job at Team CEO Teacher or as a coach being like, this is what I want. This is the flexibility that I want. But the fact that it is so flexible, that I do have that freedom, makes me just want to keep doing it, and brings me like, okay, I feel like I'm no longer living as like this teacher who is teaching all day, lesson planning at night, eat, sleep, repeat, all of that stuff, where I am fully teacher and then the rest of my life kind of takes the back seat. I feel like I get to do what I love, supporting teachers in different ways, using my strengths of organization and strategy and teaching and all of those things that I love to do, but in a way that is so much more just balanced. And I feel like I can live a life outside of work and actually put in time and my passion into relationships and getting to do what I love. So for example, when I first started coaching back in 2020 and even 2021, my family has a lake house. So one year I went down for the summer for like 3 months and just stayed at the lake house. We didn't even have Wi-Fi at the actual lake house. I had to go to our clubhouse but I got to do the coaching calls and then could go out for a swim or go for a walk or whatever that looked like. I didn't have to be chained to a desk in an office or in a classroom for 8 hours a day or longer. And now I get to have a coaching call and then go work at a coffee shop for a few hours, or be like, oh, you know what? It's a beautiful day here in Denver right now. I'm going to take a couple hours and go for a walk or go to a park and then go back and coach later in the afternoon. So I am so appreciative. It's one of those things that you never really understand how much it can change your life until you're actually living it, where having that freedom, that flexibility to truly make your own schedule and make your work fit around your life instead of the other way around is completely life-changing, and I'm so thankful for it.
And we don't talk about it. Like, we collectively don't talk about this part of our job very often. It's just kind of an understood. And so hearing you talk about it brings me so much joy, because we have daily things that we need to get done, but we're not like checking up on each other like, Allie, it's 6 a.m. Are you awake? Which she normally is and is responding to Slack messages, but that's neither here nor there. But, like this morning, I got to work here at 11 a.m. to do this recording because I drove back from the beach, and no one is wondering, where am I? Or why am I not here yet? It's just kind of, I have things to do on my to-do list. They'll get done, but they're going to get done when it's convenient for me. And we have a lot of give and take here too. If Allie let's say she had a pottery class to go to, Tina says, I'll jump in and says, I'll be the moderator and I'll do that this Thursday for, the foreseeable future. Or if I need help with a coaching call, both of the girls will jump in and say, okay, well, when can we take over? And that's the beauty of coaching, especially coaching in a community and having people that can support support you and help you and recommend you to each other. So if Allie thinks I'm not a good fit for you in this coaching, then Tina may be as well. But Tina, before we get into all of that, I want to hear about what having this flexible job of joy and freedom looks like for you.
Yes, I might be the copywriter, but words escape me when it comes to what this has done for me. So I mentioned this to the two of you and told my husband. We decided on August 1st this year that we would leave where we are currently living, travel 4 states away, and spend, originally it was 3 weeks. It ended up being 5 weeks building our home. There is no way in 26 years of being a classroom teacher, I would have been able to take 5 weeks off in the back to school season. I mean, hello, it was August through, we didn't come home till the middle of September. So there's no way I would have been able to do that because we would have had meetings and I wasn't going to not meet my students in the beginning of the year and all of the things that go along with classroom teaching, where you are tied to a classroom 40 plus hours a week. And so this coaching position has allowed me to take the time. Literally the first week or so I was coaching from the local grocery store parking lot because we don't yet have Wi-Fi. We didn't have electricity at the property yet. And so no Wi-Fi. So I was driving into town and coaching from the parking lot of the grocery store. And then I met the lady who is a half a mile away from our property. And when I say half a mile away from our property, we are 35 miles from the closest town. So she has a Mexican restaurant that is amazing food. And she told me, why are you driving to town? Come here, have chips and salsa, and use the Wi-Fi. So that's what I did for the next 5 weeks.
Yes.
So I coached from the Mexican restaurant, which was fabulous. So again, there's no, words escape me because this is my life. That's just crazy to me to think that this is my life. And so I did my coaching either in the morning or in the evening, kind of depending on, what the schedule was. And the rest of the time I was literally pounding nails and building a home.
And catching fish and walking through a meadow.
And walking through the meadow and taking pictures of the elk and the bear. I have to send you the bear that we got pictures of.
Oh, we didn't talk about that. We don't talk about Bruno.
Being able to just get my feet in the river and in nature every single day, which is so huge for me, that was something that I was never able to do before. And so I love the classroom teaching. I loved being able to help students and see the aha moments and see the light bulbs. Now, again, I taught little guys, so the light bulb and the aha moments happened all the time throughout the day, but I really feel that way even with my adult students. The aha moments and the light bulb moments, and when something really comes together, that's what lights me up inside. So it's still teaching, just in a non-traditional sense.
Yes. And Allie, thinking back to you at the lake and you riding the golf cart, oh man, those were the beginning of times too. And with everything that got started with us, but that was when I knew it was just it was this beautiful thing of this is our life. And I encourage these ladies, although they don't do it as much as I send them messages to do it, to send me pictures of what are you doing that's not work today? Because work is no longer our life. It is something that we do, but it is not who we are. And that, my friends, is a gift that you can't really express it unless you've gotten to live it. So, ladies, thank you so much. Just being able to visualize what your dreams look like, again, for me has been so refreshing. And I know that it has been for the people listening today. And if you're interested in figuring out what being an online coach can mean for you, I want to encourage you to download that workbook, The 9 Steps to Get Started Becoming an Online Business Coach, at caseymorris.com/coaching. And just know we have some really special ideas, treats, offers coming your way very soon. Ladies, thank you so much for spending your morning with us.
Thank you for having us.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Have a great day.